Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining the Q1 2020 RC West Oversight Committee meeting. This is Christina Osborne with ISO Stakeholder Affairs. I'll be managing the meeting. Also, Committee Chair Ben Brandt from Idaho Power and Vice Chair Chris Hoffman from Salt River Project are also on the line, and they will be leading the discussion. Let me just go to the agenda. So first, we'll start off by roll call like we normally do. I was able to capture some of the names of the folks that called in, but we'll just go down the list just to make sure. But we will start off. Tim Beach is going to start with the update on RC operations. And then we have Kathy Fernandez, who's going to provide an update on the recently published and upcoming RC procedures. Rachel Lucas will provide an overview of the year ending 2020 RC metrics. We also have Dee Sabaki, Tim Beach, and Tammy Elliott, who are the working group leads, and they will be providing updates on the activities since our last meeting, and that's for the operations planning, real-time ops, and training. We don't have any updates for the data exchange working group, power system restoration working group, or HANA CPG for this meeting. And then we'll just, at the end, we'll go over our future agenda items for our next meeting in May. And then we will have time at the end to open it up for public comment, and at that time we'll instruct you on how to raise your hand to enter the queue. So we'll get started off by taking rolls. So I'm going to turn it over to Ben, and Ben, I'm just going to share the spreadsheet, so hold on.
Thanks, Christina.
No problem. I'm just going to share my screen, and we'll go down the list. Let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
Okay.
Are you going to expand it?
Enlarge it. There you go.
All right. Let me make a little adjustment on my screen so I can see it.
And again, just a reminder, if any of the members are on the participant line, please dial into the speaker line using the access code that is in the invite, the Outlook invite, or if we call out your name, you also can press #2 to raise your hand. That way the operator can open up your phone line. So either way will work. So whenever you're ready, Ben.
All right. Arizona Electric Power Cooperative.
And Michelle, if you see anybody in the queue, let me know.
All right, I'm not seeing anyone from there. Avista.
Hi, Ben. Mike McGruder's here.
Hello, Mike. Hey. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Ben. Brad Kalbick, too.
Hey, Brad. Long time no see.
Indeed.
So get together. We'll have to get together one of these days. Looks like we have a representative from Auburn Grid. And so these that you've marked, Christina, I'm just going to move on down the list with those. We show that we have someone from Arizona. So I guess we'll jump all the way down to Douglas County PUD. Do we have a representative for Douglas County PUD?
Anybody
Not hearing any.
There's no one in the queue currently.
Okay.
Grant County PUD? Okay, I'm not hearing anyone from Grant County. Grid Force? Hetchy? Okay, I didn't hear one from Grid Force or Hetchy. Lone Star. Do we have a representative for Lone Star?
And again, press #2 if you're on the participant line.
All right, not hearing anyone for Lone Star. LADWP. Do we have a representative for LADWP? Not hearing anyone. Los Alamos? Not hearing anyone from Los Alamos. Nature Inner Power Watch?
Dwayne Howard from Nature Inner.
And Jeffrey Falzon also has been.
Okay, and that'll be for Power Watch and Wind Watch, correct?
Correct.
All right, Northwest Energy.
Who would be the lead on that? Glenn or is it Paul?
Yeah, Casey Johnson's on, Ben.
One from an AD perspective.
NV Energy.
Data integration perspective.
Hey, good afternoon. Scott Kaufman with NV Energy.
Welcome, Scott.
And Tim, thank you. Just a quick reminder to the folks that are on the speaker line to manually mute your phone unless you're speaking, just to avoid background noise. Thank you. So go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
Public Service Company of New Mexico. All right, not hearing anyone. Southern California Edison.
Hi, Ben. Can you hear me? This is Tony Edison.
Yep.
Okay.
Tony, thanks for joining us. San Diego Gas and Electric. I'm not hearing anyone for San Diego Gas and Electric. Seattle City Light. Not hearing anyone for Seattle. Silicon Valley. Not hearing anyone for Silicon Valley. Sacramento Municipal Utility District, SMUD. Not hearing anyone for SMUD. Snohomish. Not hearing anyone for Snohomish. Tacoma Power. Not hearing anyone for Tacoma. Trans Bay Cable. Not hearing one for Trans Bay. Tri-State. All right, not hearing anyone for Tri-State. Turlock Irrigation District.
This is Joe Gill with Turlock.
Thanks for joining us, Joe. Valley Electric Association.
This is Emily Schneider from Valley Electric.
Welcome, Emily.
Thank you.
Western Area Power Administration, Sierra Nevada region. Currently, Christina already had that one listed, just hadn't checked it yet.
Okay. Sandra Ellis. Yeah, and again, if you're a member and you're on the participant line, press pound 2 to raise your hand. We can and let us know if you are in attendance, so we can add you to the list.
So Christina, we did not have anyone from WAPA then, because it looked like you marked it yes, and then you didn't mark it, so you didn't have one for WAPA then.
Carl Dobbs for WAPA.
Oh, there we go. Welcome, Carl.
Thank you.
Brian Pauling is here for Hetch Hetchy.
Oh, thank you, Brian.
Yes, there were 2 more in the queue that just were unmuted. If you can announce your names, I just recently unmuted your line.
All right. Okay.
All right, I think
And if they're on mute.
Other than the 2 that are just called in that we haven't heard from.
Yeah, just remember to unmute your line if you're on the speaker line. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with our first presenter, Tim Beach. He's going to provide an update on general operations for RC. Tim?
Okay, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Christina and Ben. So a couple things on operations update for the public session here. No change in our COVID operating posture. Things have been going Very well. We have had one infection, but fortunately it's mild and didn't expose anybody in the control centers at all, so that was taken care of pretty quickly. So that's the only one we have had to date. Our operators have been operating in a pretty tight bubble at home and being very cautious, so it's shown in our results here. We did have a winter peak January 26th of 87.2 gigawatts, so we're up there in our winter load high for the year. Recall our seasonal peak, our historical peak is 126.3 gigawatts, which we achieved during the heat storm in August. January, February, we did see some winter storms move through, in particular the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. No lasting impacts to BES, but we did have a number of windstorms blow through, and we did have a number of lines tripping, but no lasting impacts. Of course, everybody's heard about the Portland area over the last week with their large ice storm, but that was really generally from the distribution line voltage level. We did have some BES lines trip, but I think only one remained out for a long time for an extended period, and that was not resulting in any customer outages to our knowledge anyhow. We're in a sort of a winter operating pattern as far as outages go. We're at 12. When I last looked, when the slide was presented, we had 12 long-term BES outages. That's greater than 345 kV. Just to, as a point of reference, typically during a shoulder period, we'll have, twice that many out during maintenance cycles. So definitely reflecting winter conditions. And we had 10 long-term generator outages greater than 300 megawatts as well. Again, those would be, somewhere twice that during the shoulder period. So it's been fairly quiet, for operationally through the winter. Did have a few storms, managed them pretty well. Going forward, we did have the event in December 13th, the open loop event. We'll be talking about that in the closed executive session in detail. I think that's the only slide I have. So if there's any questions on general operations, I would be happy to take those. Also, you'll hear some updates from the RTWG on the operations side too, is what we're doing in the non-real-time area of operations.
All right, any questions for Tim?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. So, Kathy, are you on the line?
I sure am. Hello, everyone. It's probably really hard to see this slide. I had a lot of procedures that have published through December, so it took up a lot of room here. Most of them were smaller updates. So these were just recently published procedures from December 1st up through, I believe, the 18th was the last update. So that's what I've got here. Anybody have any questions on recently published procedures? Okay.
The 18th,
and then on the next,
the 18th of December?
No, I'm sorry.
You said December 1st through the 18th?
Through the 18th of February, I'm sorry. So that spans over December, January, and the first half of February. So it's quite a bit of time here that's represented on this slide. Were there any questions? Okay. Then on the next slide, these are the procedures that are upcoming. We've got a major revision for open loop. This one is still going through internal coordination. We've got the same scenario with the RC 9015, the US FMP. That's also going through internal coordination. The Northwest Washington area import IROL, still coordination. That's going to be effective on April 1st. And then lastly, we have the RC 9310 Northern Nevada N-1-1 mitigation procedure. That one, I believe, will actually be publishing this Thursday, February 25th. Is there any questions regarding any of these? Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. All right, Rachel, metrics.
Hi there, good afternoon. So for the RC metrics for the year end 2020, we have a few different metrics to go over today. And then when we meet with you next this year, we'll be going over the 2021 metrics. So for 2020, we didn't set any baselines, but this is a summary of the data we've shown previously. Our first metric here on the screen is regarding state estimator solutions residual errors. So it's showing the megawatt flow for 500 kV, 345 kV, 230 kV, 138 and 115 kV lines. So the quality of solution has remained relatively stable over Q3 and Q4. There's been significant changes to our production model that have been implemented in this time frame. So we're showing the overall trend here as well as the y-axis to show for comparison the different megawatt residual errors across the different voltage levels. Next slide, please. So here on this slide, it's a pretty similar metric except we're looking at voltage. So it's showing the same voltage levels and we're showing improvement for the 500 kV as well as the grouping for 345 and 230 kV lines. Any questions on these two slides? Okay, so for the next metric, this is on Daca Accuracy, or the day-ahead contingency analysis tool. So this is showing potential contingencies in the day-ahead time frame compared to real-time or RTCA. So here we're showing the full data set, which shows a little bit of improvement, increasing the green there, and we're trying to reduce the blue. So this metric's going to look a little bit different for next year, just for clarity, but we are showing some improvement here in Q4. Next slide, please. So for RTCA non-converged contingencies, this is showing the average count in 5-minute intervals. So it's showing over the course of a month what that average 5-minute interval has for non-converged contingencies. So for Q4, we saw relatively consistent performance. We saw great improvements for Q3, but relatively steady performance for Q4. So the last RC metric that I'll be sharing here today is with regards to city or issue resolution process or progress. City is our customer inquiry and dispute information system that tracks all of the different inquiries that we get from all types of customers. And this report here really shows for the RC inquiry case record type. So we're showing here the opened and closed tickets per month as well as the average days with CAISO support and the average overall days to close. So this number of opened cases won't change each time the data is pulled, but the other numbers can change because if we close out a ticket that was opened in December, the lines and the closed tickets will change. So before I close, are there any questions, or does anyone from the California ISO have anything else to add to the metrics?
Great. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, moving on to the working group update. So, Didi, I believe you're first with the Operations Planning Working Group.
Sure. Good afternoon. This is Didi Subakti. With the Operations Planning Working Group, we don't have much of a formal update. There is currently a work that we are still working in the very early stage of modifying and enhancing the Oregon export IROL operating procedures. There has been requests from the impacted TOP in the Oregon area to enhance the Oregon export IROL procedures. So we are currently working with the impacted TOP first, and once we get some type of an agreement within the impacted TOP, then we will work with the working group before we come back to this committee. That will be my only update at this point in time, Christina.
Okay. Any questions for Dee Dee? Great. Thank you, Dee Dee. All right, Tim, real-time operations.
Okay. Tim Beach again. If you go to the next slide, Christine. Thank you. So just like Dee Dee said, Oregon Export IRO, we do have operations people sitting in on those meeting discussions. So in particular, I have actually 3 lead RCs that participate routinely in those discussions with the impacted parties. It's important that they give their perspective from the real-time operating area, so they can, lend advice to how well mitigation works and some of the issues they've seen. So that's been, I think, an important part of that review, and we appreciate the work with the impacted TOPs and BAs on that as well. We revised some procedures. So from the heat storm this past fall, we identified a couple items that we wanted to address within our procedures. I've talked about those at our last meeting. We memorialized those, but essentially they're with BAs that are part of RSGs, and when they go reserve deficients. We had inclusive language in those procedures, but we actually added some more rigor to that language, brought it up a little bit more higher in the procedure, a little more visible, and we're also requiring just more information from a BA, it's a member RSG, when they go deficient of how many megawatts you're going to get, how they're going to find to dispatch it, can they update their operating reserve value that they send to us via ICCP, that type of thing. So that's gone through, was reviewed by the RTWG and approved. We also revised our RC 9000 open loop guide pretty quickly after the open loop event that occurred in December. And we also have gone through a review post that just to get a little more specific even. So we are going to add a couple of things to that to be more specific about unscheduled flow mitigation during open loop events when they do occur. So we've done that. Currently we have restoration drills going on in areas A, B, and C. They've started February 2nd through March 12th. We have RCs participating in all those drills. So our RCs are getting a lot of restoration practice. They're going to participate in multiple drills. I think it's going very well from what I've heard from our training group and the RCs involved in that as well. So again, that'll conclude March 12th. We've been coordinating with SPP in regards to the transition of Grid BA, part of Grid Force, to SPP's RC area. We've been meeting every couple weeks with SPP, working on a transition plan regarding that, and it's moving along. Just for those that may not recall, that'll be effective April 1st. So that's going as well. We also coordinated with BCRC to transition GMD monitor duties to the BCRC. So just a little background, GMD monitors global magnetic disturbances. The monitors switch yearly, so each RC takes his turn monitoring or fulfilling the monitoring duties, which coincides with what happens on the Eastern interconnection as well. So that shifted to them. So BCRC would make any notices on GMS or RCS regarding GMD monitoring and any events that would occur. We are currently in an upcycle in solar activity. It started this year, so we expect to see some more activity, although it's not predicted to be any more severe than the last cycle. So, but be aware that you'll be seeing some, or your operators will be seeing some watches, warnings, and potentially alerts over the next several years. The solar cycle lasts several years, so it's from start to finish. So that's going on as well. And also within the RTWG, just like Rachel went over with you here, we go over the metrics as well, typically on a quarterly basis going forward, and we'll be looking at levers and discussing different items within the RTWG regarding those metrics. Any questions?
Tim, this is Brian Wayland at NV Energy.
Yeah.
On the RC9000 open loop, you said that it had been revised and you had some tweaks to it. On an earlier slide, it said that it was up for a major revision. Which one is it?
Yeah. Well, we went through one revision and we're going through another revision again. So just in short, during open loop procedures, USF MP should be suspended. And that's what our first revision is. But after consideration, we realized that it really should only be on pass 66, the qualified pass 66 for suspension. You actually could have some unscheduled flow through the topaz branches there that SPP may want to use USF for. So we're going to add that portion to the RC9000.
And will there be an opportunity for NV Energy to comment on that? Because there appear to be some deficiencies in the existing 9000.
Okay. Yes, there was. We went through a period after the open loop event, but we can certainly recirculate for comment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions for Tim? All right, thank you, Tim. Okay, Tammy, are you on?
Yes, I am. Tim mentioned the RC West system restoration drills that are in progress. The only thing I'd like to tag on to that is that we also have the 2021 GOP-focused exercises scheduled for March 16th and September 7th. And that's it.
All right. Any questions for Tammy? Wow, okay, we're way ahead of schedule. So we can talk about future agenda items for the May 18th meeting. Anybody have any topic suggestions for that meeting?
Christina, this is Ben. I have not received any requests for particular topics for agenda items, so I would just let you know that. And I don't know if Chris has either,
okay.
But I don't believe he has.
No, I haven't either, Ben. Thanks.
And, you know, if you do have any between now and that meeting, feel free to reach out to Ben or Chris, or you can also reach out to the ISO RC mailbox and submit your ideas. Okay, so if there aren't any questions from the committee members, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. So if you do have a comment, you're on the participant line, you can press #2 to raise your hand. Just a reminder to please state your name and affiliation first, please. Michelle, let me know if anybody interested you.
We do have a question in the queue.
Okay.
Caller, your line's unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Mary Throne from the Wyoming Public Service Commission here on behalf of YRAB. I let Tricia know that one of our member commissioners wanted to encourage your group to look at the IEEE standard 1547-2018. It appears that reliability coordinators in the eastern part of the country are implementing these guidelines, and we recognize that our part of the country is different, but just wanted to bring it to your attention and encourage you to take a look. I'd also like to say thank you in advance for the willingness to come to our next YRAP meeting and present on the RC metrics. So I know our group's looking forward to that. And that's all I had.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have anybody else in the queue?
No one else in the queue at this time.
Dan or Chris, do you guys have anything else you want to add before we close and move to the executive session?
I don't have anything, Christina.
Okay.
I don't either, Christina.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, so, that's all we have for the public session. We greatly appreciate your participation. If you are a committee member, we are going to be starting the executive session shortly, so go ahead and stay on the speaker line, but you'll want to use a separate link for the WebEx that's provided in the Outlook invite. So, Michelle, if you can go ahead and turn off the recording, please leave the speaker line open, but mute the participant line, and also you can disconnect the WebEx.